Are you thinking about building your own website, but you're unsure of what software tool to use? You know, there are hundreds of website builders out there, from Wix to Squarespace to WordPress, and you're not sure which one to use to get started? Then this video is for you. Keep watching. Hey everybody, Jeffrey here with Max Height Web Solutions, and today we're going to talk about what platform should you use to build your own website. Now, deciding to build your own website is a big choice, and I have a video on whether or not you should make the choice to build your own website. So if you haven't watched that video yet, it's entitled Your Website, the Why, How, What, and Who. So go back and take a look at that first, because that may give you some insight in whether or not building a website for yourself is a good idea, or hiring someone else, or leveraging a friend who may be an expert or at least a experienced amateur in building websites. Today's video is all about which platform should you choose. If you have chosen to build your own website, which platform should you choose? Now, this is not an exhaustive list. I'm going to talk about the big three website builders: Wix, Squarespace, and WordPress. Each one of them has pros and cons, benefits and disadvantages, depending on what level you're at in your web design experience, in your design knowledge, in your ability to climb a tech curve. All of those things are important. Let's start out with Wix. Wix is suited for non-techie beginners with limited design experience. They have over 500 templates that you can get started with right away. The way you use a template is you choose the template and then you just swap out all the content. So there'll be some like filler text in there, and you swap out your text, you write your text in that space. They'll have an image and you just swap out your image for whatever they had in there. There may be some background images that they allow you to use and so forth that are royalty free for you because you're a paying customer. It's important for you to know that Wix controls your website. You are working in the Wix environment, the Wix universe. Your website, your domain, all of this is registered and hosted and lives in the Wix environment. You don't need to have a third-party hosting company. You don't have to pay for additional hosting. You pay Wix, and whatever you pay them, the hosting and the domain and everything comes along with it. They have plans ranging from $13 a month to $40 a month, but it's always a reoccurring monthly charge. And I believe if you pay for a whole year at once and then renew yearly, I think you get maybe a month free. Another important thing to know, as I said, Wix is it's driven by the templates you pick. So you pick a template and then you customize that. You basically swap out your content for their content. It's not like you're going to completely customize all the elements on this page and change the layout. Once you select a template, you're kind of locked into that layout. There's an image here, there's text here, there's a title here, and you don't move those around. They don't really change. And I think they do have a sandbox or a blank template that you might be able to add components into, but don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. The important thing to know is that once you choose your template, you're kind of stuck with that template. You can't change it out later after you've built your website. If you want to change that, I think you need to trash your whole website and start from scratch if you want a different template. That's a kind of big deal. So be very committed and sure that you want that template before you start building out your website with it. Your level of design control is limited to the template you pick. With Wix, you have limited functionality. There are a lot of things you can add to it. You can add a storefront, slideshows, I think, image galleries, things like this. But you can't find a third-party app outside of Wix that does a specific thing that you want and bring that. And maybe you found this really cool appointment scheduler that somebody else has created. You can't bring that into Wix. You can only use what Wix has created for you to use. They have a lot of tools, and it's not a bad idea to go in there and play around with it and get a feel for it yourself. I think you might get a 1-week free trial or a preview. Just know that the upside of Wix is it's really easy to build a beautiful site fairly quickly with a moderate learning curve. The downside of Wix is that it is fairly limited in what you can do design-wise. So if you are an experienced designer or you are a bit experienced in building websites, I wouldn't say Wix is the place to go for you. Next on the list is Squarespace. Squarespace is similar to Wix in that it is a fairly easy interface to use. It's drag and drop. It's all visually orientated. You don't use code for either of these, Wix or Squarespace. You just swap out this picture, swap out this text, and so forth. Make the font bigger, make the font smaller, make the font black, make it blue. Squarespace has not as many templates as Wix has, but they are all beautiful. They're all very well laid out and very well designed and balanced. And again, if you're going to just take the template and swap out the components for your components, then you're probably going to have a beautiful website. You can make certain styling choices with Squarespace, but again, they are limited to where you can put things and what kinds of things can go on a page. Squarespace is suited for the non-tech beginner web builder with limited or no design experience. I would say that Squarespace is the best way to go if you have no design experience at all, because their templates are beautiful just out of the box. I understand that Squarespace has a great customer service. Those are several reviews that I've read. I've also read that about Wix, although I have heard some negative things that Wix can be a little quirky sometimes. Similarly to Wix, Squarespace controls your website. It lives in the Squarespace environment. So everything is hosted within Squarespace. That's not necessarily a bad thing. However, if you want macro control and micro control over your website and all things to do with your website and the functionality, Squarespace and Wix probably aren't the way to go for you. If you want those things, you're probably at a more advanced web developer level and advanced designer level anyway, so you're probably not going to want to go with Wix or Squarespace. Squarespace plans range from $12 a month to $40 a month. I think you also get a discount, a yearly discount, just like Wix. If you pay for a year at one time, you might get a free month, I think. And the third website builder that I'm going to talk about in this video is WordPress. WordPress is suited for the more tech experienced, the more design experienced, and it is a bit of a learning curve, and it can be overwhelming and somewhat awkward and cumbersome to get started with and get going. You will need to have your own hosting environment. So you have to do some research on different hosting platforms. Which one is the one for you? Is it GoDaddy? Is it Bluehost? Is it HostGator? Is it One-on-One? Is it SiteGround? There's thousands of them out there. I use SiteGround because it is well suited for a WordPress environment. They know WordPress, they're very experienced with WordPress, and their customer service and their tech support are very helpful with WordPress websites. Once you decide on a hosting platform, WordPress is free to install. WordPress itself does not cost you anything. The core program is free to use. Where WordPress can become costly is in the premium themes and premium plugins that you decide to install into the WordPress backend. It's easy to install them, but it's hard to select them. It's hard to choose them. There are so many. There are literally hundreds of thousands of themes and plugins. And plugins are just little apps that you plug in that do everything, do anything that you need. This is where the power of WordPress comes in, because it is unlimited in its functionality, in what a WordPress website can do. It's virtually unlimited because there are so many developers out there for WordPress that have built what are called plugins that do different things for your website, whether it's a plugin to control and manage contact forms, or there is a plugin that helps you optimize for search engine optimization, or there is a plugin for a slideshow on the top of every page, and on and on and on. These plugins range in price from free to several hundreds of dollars, depending on what you want. You might find a really great contact form plugin for free, and you like it, you can use it, and you get started with it. It doesn't cost you anything. A lot of these plugins and themes are what I call freemium. They start out free, and if you want to add this feature and that feature and this feature, then there are little upcharges as you upgrade the features of the plugin or the theme. One thing that developers love about WordPress is the unlimited ability to customize a website. There really is no limit to what kind of a website you can produce, the look and feel, whether you want it to scroll up and down or scroll side to side, be a one-page website or multi-page websites, drop down menus, customize the menus, add a footer, take out a footer, no header. You want your logo to be transparently hovering over your image. There's just no end to how you can customize a WordPress website. That is an advantage. It's also a disadvantage depending on if you are not techie and you don't have an eye for good design. This can quickly become overwhelming for you. But having the freedom to do whatever your mind can create in visualization and then create it on the page, that is a great benefit and a great power of WordPress. With a WordPress website, you control the website space. You have a server that you're paying for, a cloud server on your hosting environment that you have installed WordPress, and that is your space. Nobody can come in there and put ads in there or inject some kind of code or change some plugin from without, like Wix or Squarespace. They control your website space. A downside to WordPress is there is no customer service specifically for WordPress core platform. There is a forum on WordPress.org. There's a lot of information on there, but that becomes the challenge. There's so much information, and there's so much being discussed in the forum that you can quickly become overwhelmed and distracted. And where do I even begin with this? It can be like looking for a needle in a haystack when you just need somebody to point the way and say, oh, here's the problem, here's the solution. You may not even know what your problem is. You just know there's something wrong with my website. I don't even know how to fix it. Each plugin company, each plugin developer, each theme developer have their own customer service. It's a wide range in quality, from completely nightmarish horrible to fantastically wonderful. The only way to know that is to read some reviews and really just dive in and try a plugin and see what the support is like for that plugin. And if it's terrible, you get rid of it and you move on to another one. And this is where WordPress can get a little overwhelming, a little cumbersome, a little awkward for the beginner. It took me years to finally find the one company that I use for all my themes and all my plugins. And they have great support, they have great tutorials, they have great products. I have been using them long enough that I know the products inside and out. So because they're so familiar to me, I can fix the problems myself as they arise, and I don't need to experiment anymore. I don't need to search for other plugins and themes. I've found my holy grail, if you will, of WordPress third-party plugin suite. The company I use is called Thrive Themes, and I will put a link below this video, so if you want to check them out, you can click on that link. In fact, I'll put a link to Wix, I'll put a link to Squarespace also, so you can, in one stop, you can get all three of them and check them out. So let me just stress again that the power of WordPress is in the unlimited ability to get apps and themes, plugins, design freedom, functionality freedom. That is the great power of WordPress. However, at the same time, that is the great downfall, depending on who you are. If you are a beginning web developer or a beginning web designer, or you're just starting to figure out how to design things, you would be better off with either Wix or Squarespace. We saw with Wix and Squarespace how they had a visual editor that you could drag and drop things. You didn't have to code anything. You just take this picture and slide it here, and take a text box and put it there, take a button and put it here, and so forth. WordPress has those same kinds of visual builders, which come in packages in third-party plugins. I told you about the one I use, which is Thrive Themes, and the building environment, the editing environment, is called Thrive Architect. And I'm going to do a series of videos on how to build a website with Thrive Architect. The three big visual content builders for WordPress are Divi Builder from Elegant Themes, Beaver Builder from, I think it's just Beaver Builder, and Thrive Architect from Thrive Themes. Thrive Architect is a plugin that you plug into your WordPress, you install in your WordPress environment, and you have this beautiful and elegant and powerful visual editor. When you create a new page, you have all this functionality of being able to drag and drop things out and put content anywhere and design anything you want as far as the look and feel of a website. I'm going to create a series of videos that show you how to build different kinds of websites, different kinds of layouts with Thrive Architect. And again, I have a link below this video so you can check out Thrive Architect yourself and get started with it. So there it is, Wix, Squarespace, and WordPress. And my preference is WordPress with Thrive Themes. For me, that's the most powerful way to go. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it shed a little light on the decision of which website builder should you choose if you've already chosen to go it yourself. If you try to do this and it's too much, go back to my video that talks about who builds your website. I'll put a link to that video down below as well. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you know somebody this video might benefit, if you would consider sharing this with them. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, consider doing that. Also, if you'd like to be notified whenever I publish another video, just click the little bell icon below and hit the subscribe button. And as always, if you have anything to contribute to the discussion, any questions, comments, feedback, add the comments below. And let's get the dialogue going. As always, thanks for watching. This is Jeffrey from Max Height Web Solutions, wishing you great success in your business endeavors. Until next time, onward and upward.